What is life? What is death? What does it mean to live with absolute purpose? These are some questions that the Hagakure, an 18th century book written by the former retainer Yamamoto Tsunetomo, tries to answer. The book compiles his reflections on the samurai code known as the Bushido, and the transient nature of life and death, but also in the determination of the mind to do just that, to live or even to die. What is the difference between some people who face challenges with unwavering determination to those who hesitate and fail? The word Hagakure means hidden beneath the leaves, and it was written at the time Japan was experiencing an era of relative peace under the Tokugawa shogunate. Without constant warfare, many samurai found themselves in an existential crisis. How could they uphold their warrior ethos in a world that no longer required their swords? Tsunetomo, disillusioned with the softening spirit of his peers, dictated his thoughts to a disciple, resulting into a collection of aphorisms that captured the essence of samurai duty, honor, and resolve. The way of the samurai is found in death. This does not mean an obsession with dying, but rather a mindset of total commitment to one's purpose, that he could even kill himself just to achieve it. But at the same time, the samurai who thought like this also took this as very literal idea as well, with any sort of dishonoring being enough to make one of them to commit suicide or seppuku, or even to kill someone just because of a dishonorable act they have made. At the same time, this can also be interpreted as a philosophy to the complete absence of hesitation when making life-defining choices. A love partner, a goal you set, a way of being. If you're not able to die to serve these purposes, in a sense, why to be alive at all? It is very extreme, and it is also the ideas of the first chapter. The greatest lesson of the Hagakure, therefore, is that we must be ready to act without hesitation. If we have a goal, we must go all the way without worrying excessively about the consequences. If by setting one's heart right every morning and evening, one is able to live as though his body were already dead, he gains freedom in the way. This reminds me a little of the importance of mindset and success. Many people fail not due to the lack of talent, but because they hesitate, they fear failure, and do not fully commit to their decisions. The fear of failure is, in fact, the greatest enemy of excellence. But what should you do to overcome this? What can we do to not be admitted into these feelings? This is when Tsunetomo, and this is a very common philosophy in the East, introduces the idea of no mind. Similar to the Taoist idea of no action, it would be something like confronting what you have to do, set your mind straight, and keep doing what you have to do, whatever the efforts it may take. What is called no mind is a mind that is pure and lacks complication. Because we do most things relying only on our own sagacity, we become self-interested, turn our backs on reason, and things do not turn out well. An advisor will fulfill the way when he makes a decision by selfless and frank intelligence, because he is not personally involved. He has no thoughts of pride, but self-abasement knows the way to the end. It is said that Master Yagyu once remarked, "I do not know the way to defeat others, but the way to defeat myself." It is similar to the idea that those who persist, even if considered average, often surpasses the talented who give up on the first obstacles. For this to happen, one must set his mind as stone or a rock beforehand. So even when the water passes, or the problems or anything in his life per se, he will not falter. That is, even if the concept of no mind assembles the idea of not thinking in anything, it is more about thinking only on one thing, which is that which you are determined previously, or that you have determined previously before engaging into action. Thinking about things previously and then handling them lightly when the time comes is what this is all about. To face an event anew, solve it lightly is difficult if you are not resolved beforehand, and there will always be uncertainty in hitting your mark. If you determine your heart and your mind before things can happen, then when they do happen, your will not be demolished or flow abroad with these other things that may happen in the short term, because your mind is determined to the long run of things, and it knows that it doesn't matter what comes in your way, you will achieve what you want to achieve. If it is a combat, you will win. If it is a routine, you will finish it. If it is a thought, you will keep it unswerving and will not stagger. In parallel to this, ideas such as being loyal to your master are broadly disseminated throughout this book. But it could also serve you as a samurai to be loyal to your determination, ways of thinking, and values as well. Loyalty is right before your eyes. If once set yourself to it, you will become a superb retainer at that very moment. This means that when we truly commit to a mission, our identity changes. Commitment transforms us. Whether in the professional, academic, or personal spheres, those who truly dedicate themselves to an ideal become references and earn respect and success. So I believe that the masters for the samurai were not only masters in the literal sense, just like dying wasn't just a physical act. It is more on not only what it represents, that is, its symbolism, but also on what I like to call a cognitive exaptation. Just like animals evolved a same bone structure to create different ways of locomotion, like hands, wings, paws, and so on, the same can happen to actions that we take. For the samurai, his determination was everything, and the devotion to his ideas could be resembled to a devotion to its master. Being devoted and loyal to a person you consider superior in this sense could also be the same as being loyal to this image of becoming and being able to become superior as well, without disrespecting of master, of course. For this, the samurais thought about advancing daily life, becoming more skillful, more knowledgeable, more loyal, better overall every single day. A concept that is very similar to a post-World War II idea developed in Japan called Kaizen, a change for the better, whether a single time or continuously, whether large or small. Kaizen is something like becoming a better version of yourself 1% every single day, or just better than you were yesterday. Small daily progress accumulated over time generates extraordinary transformations. And this is when this almost single-mindedness comes at hand, because you can improve yourself in an infinite number of things, such as with your speech, with your body, with your charisma, with your katana, or with your way of dressing a kimono. A person who does not set himself in just one direction will be of no value at all. One should not look for anything else in the way of the samurai. It is the same for anything that is called a way. Therefore, it is inconsistent to hear something of the way of Confucius or the way of Buddha and say that this is the way of the samurai. If one understands things in this manner, he should be able to hear about all ways and be more and more in accord with his own. And this is a hard concept to grasp, at least for me. I love philosophy, I love neuroscience, I love psychology, and anything in between. I make no discrimination to the thoughts and thinkers I'm learning from, and that I like to disseminate as well. I like to mixture all of them, and with this create my own thing, or just to seek the commonalities between them and how they come to integration of sort. But what Tsunetomo is saying here is that if you focus yourself in only one way of being, here the way of samurai, you will with these not need anything else. The way of Buddha, the way of Confucius, the way of science, who knows? Although they may seem as different from outside, if you focus yourself in a single way, you will find with this all of the others that you need, or all of the others that you have ignored. It resembles the idea of death. Because to die is to exclude something. In this case, it is to exclude life, whether its own life or the life of others. This was something very common within the samurai. When pressed with the choice of life or death, it is not necessary to gain one's aim. Not having attained our aim in continuing to live is cowardice. So, instead of wandering through many different marvelous concepts, many different ways of acting, many imaginations and things that could be or even become in life, or even the problems that you have, not overthinking and just be one thing. In this case, the way of the samurai is the true way of being a samurai. Imagine that you have many projects that never leave the paper because you are always waiting for the perfect moment to begin them, or even projects that you have already begun but you never continue them because they are not showing the results you want. A video on YouTube, a book, a drawing, a relationship even. The reality is that there will never be an ideal moment, and the only way to move forward is through consistent action, to determine your mind before, and no matter what happens, you will keep persisting on that thing without attachments to the end results and without wandering off when you don't get what you want. A person who does not set himself in just one direction will be of no value at all. Those who try to follow too many paths at once sometimes end up going nowhere. In the modern world, and especially on the internet, we are bombarded all the time with options, with videos, with ads. But the real success comes from specialization and commitment to a singular purpose. This is why I clean my home on YouTube and Instagram with extensions to help me focus more. And no, this is not an ad. This is just something I do, and I think it works. Overall, the Hagakure teaches us that life and death are not opposites, but parts of the same flow. The central question is not to avoid or fear them, but to learn to act within this transience with total determination. Hagakure teaches us that strength does not come from the absence of fear or doubt, but from decision to move forward despite those things. It is not about seeking certainty, but about choosing a path and leaving it to its ultimate consequences. The book even brings some criticisms to gender roles and society, saying how men have forgotten to be men and they honor a valuing tradition. But if you read the book or check out the summary I've made of it on my Patreon, you can actually discover it some more, and also the summary of many other books as well. For now, I can say that this book helped me understand that whatever the path we may choose, study, art, war, or love, we should not depend on those things to tell us if we should keep doing or going after them or not. After all, what defines a warrior is not the blade he carries, but the unshakable decision to yield it when the time comes, to act without hesitation, maintain constant discipline, and to live with a clear purpose to a single goal. This is how you think like a samurai.